What's up guys, my name is Ace, and there hasn't been a whole lot of new information or gameplay or news when it comes to Modern Warfare 4, so to fill up the time, I've been going back and trying to find new sources of gameplay that was recorded at the Fanatics Fest in New York, a couple weeks back now at this point. And in doing so, I've noticed a handful of details, or at least little gameplay clips showing off new elements with the game. And so in today's video, I wanted to share a bunch of little details that you may have missed from that gameplay. Now, admittedly, if you were paying attention at all, you would have already seen some of this stuff, but likely not all of it. So let's dive into this. Starting it off with one that did spread around in the community a fair amount. You guys may have seen this clip from Tim the Tatman, but what he showed here is we have the option to throw our equipment normally, or we can toggle into an underhand throw as we're holding the equipment in our hand. And this allows you to give that throw a lot less speed and momentum, and therefore you're relying less on having to bank it off of something. So if somebody's right around a corner, for instance, and there's no surface for you to bank that equipment off, now you can just kind of underhand lob it around that corner, and it will detonate very close to the target, rather than hitting the ground and then continuing to bounce really far from them. And I think this is pretty neat. It's a brand new mechanic for Call of Duty, and I'm happy to see them bring this to the game, even if more often than not, I probably just want to use the standard throw and get that little bit of extra distance. There definitely will be situations where this will be the better option. Next up, something that we actually saw in some very early gameplay clips that the studio showed off is this pistol here, which I thought looked really interesting, but what I didn't realize with that at the time at least, but we now know based on the alpha footage, is this isn't a secondary weapon. This is actually a piece of lethal equipment, and it's called the zip gun. So you activate it as if you were throwing a piece of lethal equipment, and it will pull this full auto pistol out that has a 15 round capacity to it. And I think that's also a really unique and interesting addition to the game. As for certain setups where maybe you want a launcher as your secondary, for instance, now you don't have a pistol, well, you can swap that out for your lethal, and now you do have a pistol. Sort of. It doesn't work entirely like a regular primary pistol because it does have a limited use with just that 15 rounds. Once you fire those 15 rounds, it's gone. And also, I can't say this with absolute certainty, but it does appear you can't fully aim down sight with this as well. But again, a nice little unique thing that they've added with this game that we haven't seen before in Call of Duty. Now, after that, just a little general mechanic change that they made with this game that they've never done before in Call of Duty. And I know many people have been asking for this since as far back as I can remember forums talking about Call of Duty, like way back in the day, is with Modern Warfare 4, they are finally doing round-in-chamber reloads, or you might call them +1 reloads, or whatever you want to call it. But essentially, the way this works is if you activate a reload without firing the gun all the way till empty, you have a round in the chamber. So when you drop the mag from that, you still got that round in the chamber, and you put the new mag in. Realistically, that should mean that your current capacity in your gun is whatever was in that magazine plus that one round that was in the chamber. So if you're reloading a 30 round mag into your gun and you have a round in the chamber, now it should show that you have 31 rounds loaded. Whereas if you do fire the gun all the way till empty, you no longer have that round in the chamber, so when you put that mag in, you have just 30 rounds loaded. And honestly, I have no idea why it's taken Call of Duty so long to do this. It's actually very easy to set up. I've done it myself when playing around with making games. The logic on it is quite basic, and funny enough, Call of Duty has had separate animations for an empty reload versus a non-empty reload, with that empty reload requiring you to chamber a round. They've had that for a long time at this point, and yet they've never had the ammo counter reflecting the fact that that's what's happening. So they've finally gotten on top of that, and I think that's great since it doesn't really change the gameplay all that much. Sure, that extra round may save you in the odd situation here or there, but that's going to be quite rare that that one round is all you needed. At least with a regular full auto gun. I guess with something like a sniper rifle, that's actually a much bigger deal. But as minor of a mechanic as that is, I'm really glad that Call of Duty has finally done it. Now after that, something I didn't pick up on right away, at least while watching the gameplay, but now looking back, it seemed really hard to miss. Right at the bottom of the screen, they actually have a stamina bar there. So as you're doing things like tactical sprint, sliding, diving, jumping, all of these things will deplete that, although it does recharge very quickly as well. There appears to be basically no delay, so the moment you stop performing those actions, it immediately starts refilling. And to my knowledge, this stamina bar is just reflecting your tactical sprint meter. So if you deplete it fully, you won't be able to tactical sprint. As far as I could tell, even when they were running it down to basically nothing, it wasn't preventing them from sliding or anything like that. So I think it is just your tac sprint stamina indicator. And I guess that's nice to have on your screen if you just want that little indicator letting you know why you can't tac sprint right now, for instance. Now, of course, I haven't tested this for myself, and I plan on testing it out in the beta. I am curious to know if perhaps if you deplete this fully, will it have an impact on like your slide speed or duration or how high you can jump, for instance? Time will have to tell on that, but as far as I can tell so far, I think it is just for your tactical sprint stamina. Next up, something we've seen a few clips of here or there, but maybe you've missed it up until this point. A new mechanic they're adding to Call of Duty that's taking a whole lot of inspiration from CS2 is their new smoke grenade mechanic, where things like gunshots and explosions can clear a hole in the smoke. And this is the best clip showing this off that I've seen so far here, because with this shotgun, you can see that it blasts a massive hole in that smoke, so then you can see very clearly through it. And that's definitely a very interesting mechanic that they've added to the game. My big question here is, will this have an impact on aim assist through smoke? Because for those that don't know, smoke grenades in Call of Duty disable your aim assist when aiming through them, or if you're standing in them, you will have no aim assist present. But what if you've blown a big hole in that smoke? Do you get a little bit of aim assist through that hole or not? My guess is probably not, and this is just going to be a visual thing that's going to help you identify the target. But again, I think this is an area where time will have to tell on that. We'll have to get some actual testing done with it. Now, after that, something I haven't seen until I just recently started searching for some new gameplays here is swimming. Now, I fully expected that the swimming mechanic would be in the game. I just had no idea that there were any swimming sections available on Kill Block, at least the Kill Block sections we've seen in this alpha. However, the center section that is emulating high rise, all of the lower areas are actually filled with water. And so we have seen a little bit of swimming take place here. Unfortunately, I haven't seen any gunfights go down while underwater, but from what I have seen, it does appear we will only be able to use pistols again if we're underwater, whereas if you swim to the surface, then you can pull out your primary weapon. And I thought that would be interesting to at least include in this video, even though it doesn't appear to be anything new with this game. It's just something where I hadn't seen any swimming gameplay yet, so I figured many of you guys probably haven't as well, so I wanted to show that off here. Now after that, a really minor visual detail that I totally missed with the initial gameplays I was watching is if you perform an execution on an enemy player, it appears you will end up with blood on your gun and it will stick around on your gun as well. And it's very saturated blood as far as I can tell here. I don't know if this gameplay was touched up with like additional saturation. It does kind of look like he added a bit of saturation there. That's just an interesting little detail I thought I'd point out there. Next up, something that they have talked about for a while now, and we have seen a gameplay clip in the past, but I just wanted to show this in action again here with this gameplay, is the fact that these pipes, which are very clearly highlighted, they're very obvious around the map, they are essentially replacing ladders in many areas, so you can climb these pipes and sort of parkour on them. I know some people were quite surprised to see that, so I thought I'd throw that in here as well. Next up, I was trying to keep a close eye while watching the gameplay on the equipment that was being used, and while a lot of the equipment is just the usual equipment, we've seen it before. We've got drill charges, C4s, stuns, flashbangs, frags, all that kind of stuff. We're not going to be talking about those. Also, sensor mines are back, I should point that out as well. Instead, I wanted to focus on some newer ones, and one that I've seen some questions about is the Screamer mine. Like, what does that actually do? What does it look like? And I managed to find a couple gameplay clips here. This is a tactical piece of equipment, and it does stick to surfaces, so you can put this on walls or I presume ceilings as well, or you can throw it on the floor if you want. And when triggered, it will only deal 1 damage to the player since it is a tactical piece of equipment, and it will cause this very disorienting effect. It really reminds me of the Suppression Mine field upgrade from Modern Warfare 2, although it doesn't appear to be as powerful as you would expect since this is just a lethal piece of equipment rather than a field upgrade. Keeping in mind, it also appears that within Kill Block, we do have Tac Mask as well as Flak Jacket built into our character, because every time I saw somebody get hit with a lethal or tactical, it would come up with either a Flak Jacket icon or a Tac Mask icon. And same story when they were using it against somebody, it would show up a Tac Mask or Flak Jacket icon for them with their hit marker. But I just thought I'd point that out since I have seen some questions surrounding the Screamer Mine, just wondering what exactly it is and how it works. And then finally, in a similar vein here, we have the Tripwire Mine. I was kind of curious as to how this works as well. And with this, it looks like you just throw one side of the Tripwire Mine, and the other end will shoot out directly perpendicular from that surface from there. So if you get it at a weird angle, it will shoot out at a weird angle, but if you get it just right in a doorway, for instance here, you can see it will shoot perfectly across the doorway and attach to the other side. And I just thought that was an interesting piece of equipment since it is new to this game. Another thing though that I found with this that I found quite interesting is you can use this aggressively. We can see here in this clip, the player throws it and it sticks to an enemy player. And while there is a bit of a delay, it will explode if you do that and kill them. And there we go, that's pretty much it. That's gonna wrap it up for just a good handful of little details that I noticed while watching these gameplay clips that I felt were worth sharing with you guys, just in case you guys may have missed some of these. And with that, I'm very curious to hear from you guys in those comments down below. How are you feeling about many of these details here that I shared today and some of the little innovations they've made, even if they are really minor things? How are you feeling about them overall? And also, are there any other little details that I didn't mention in today's video that you feel are worth pointing out? If you enjoyed this video, a like rating is always appreciated, and don't forget to subscribe for more if you haven't already. I'll talk to you guys next time.